Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you guys are. Guys, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video as always, guys. Guys, this is going to be I'm going to round up a few topics from the weekend, which obviously I hope you enjoyed the video with G-Man. Good video. It was great having a few guests on. I've had quite a few guests on of late, and I think it's been going pretty well. We talk about a whole cluster of different things, and yeah, it's always good to get people's insight. Also, it's just good talking to people rather than me doing this all myself all the time. It can get quite boring at times. So yeah, you know, talking to someone helps, and yeah, you can go on for a lot longer as well, because you know you don't really realize when you're speaking to yourself and speaking to the camera. It's a lot harder than actually when you're speaking to somebody, because you're both taking it in turns and time just flies. You know, that video with G-Man was almost 50 minutes long and it just flew by. You don't even realize, and it just flies by, especially when you're talking boxing. And I felt like there's so many other things we could have talked about. But, you know, I just wanted to keep it, 50 minutes. I didn't want to go longer than that. Otherwise, the video can get a bit dragging at times. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, let's round up the weekend's action. So we had, basically I've been asked from Muhammad Ahmed, who's one of my subscribers, to do a video about Adam Azim. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Adam Azim, and then I'm gonna talk about Jesse Bam Rodriguez, and then we'll also talk about Spence Crawford. So there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of buzz around Adam Azim in the UK. He's a star. Right now, all I want to say to a lot of people that, are talking about Adam Azim is he's had 5 fights. A lot of people are comparing him. Oh, he's going to be better than Khan. He's going to be better than Thing. He's got a good chin. Khan never had a good chin. He's going to be even better than Khan. Guys, I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit. Amir Khan was unified world champion. We don't know if this kid is going to get anywhere near that level. And look, he looks the goods. The reports coming out from the trainers, the sparring, that this guy is going to go all the way. But again, let me explain this, right? There's a lot of things that we can't see in 5 fights. Firstly, the level of opposition is not very good at this point, where he's going in there, he's blasting them out. That's not going to keep happening at world level, right? Or even European level, yeah? Secondly, he hasn't got a decorated amateur background like Amir Khan, right? Also, Amir Khan proved that he can box. And what I mean by that, this guy's going in there at the minute and he's just wiping guys out with his power. He looks good, he's fast, but we don't know if he can box at range. We don't know if, he can box like Khan did, because Khan was a really good boxer. He could box at range. This guy right now is just going in there and blasting guys out. We don't know, like, there's a lot of hype around him, and Skype are hyping him massively. Like, they're hyping him. He's getting a lot of hype around him. But that adds a lot of pressure. That adds a lot of pressure. And I feel like a lot of people are saying, yeah, this kid's going to go all the way. And you know why I don't like all of this? When people are hyping someone up and praising them so much, because he has one bad performance, all of you guys are going to start calling him a hype job. He was no good. He's not this. He's not that. Hence why I've realized in boxing that hyping somebody is no good, because when you're expecting this guy to be like that all the time, as soon as he fights someone stiff and he doesn't perform the way he's performing now, and maybe that guy wobbles him, maybe he gives him a tough test, maybe, he even gets beat, all of you guys are going to start calling him a hype job, which is unfair, because obviously as he moves up the levels, it's going to get tougher. But because of the perception that you have of him in your head, you expect him to go in and blow everybody out. So he looks the goods. He's doing all the right things that we expect from a guy that's 5-0. But we need to pump the brakes and stop comparing and this, that, and the other, because he's had 5 fights. He's had 5 fights. You can't stop comparing him to world champions. Like, I saw an interviewer saying, oh, you know, asking really Shane McGuigan, Adam Azim and Josh. We don't even know if he gets anywhere near Josh Taylor's level, whether that's even a fight in the future. We don't know, because he's nowhere near that level. Like, if you were talking about someone like Conor Benn, for example, Conor Benn, right, and Josh Taylor, it's different because Conor Benn now is on the verge of kind of world level, fringe world level, right? This guy's nowhere near. We don't even know if he's good enough to be a British champion at this point. So this is what I'm saying. Like, I think we need to pump the brakes. People get too excited, and look, Sky need to build stars. So of course they're building Adam Azim, which is fair enough because they haven't got many big stars now. So they're building him, they're hyping him, I feel like Sky have only got young fighters now that they're going to have to try build and make stars. But there's no guarantee if any of these are going to go on to be world beaters. They have very high hopes for Adam Azim. Now, I thought Adam Azim was 135 pounds. He's actually 140. He's a super lightweight, which is actually better for him because the super lightweight division, although there are good fighters in the super lightweight division, I think there's more of a chance of him being successful and becoming world champion in that division. Look, Josh Taylor has 3 belts. 1 belt has been vacated. The WBA belt has been vacated. I'm pretty sure in a year time, you know, there might be a couple of other belts be vacated. But it depends on how quickly they're going to move him, because at this point, he's literally fighting no hopers. Now, if a guy was that good, they would be putting him in with much stiffer tests, because there's guys that in their 5th or 6th fight, when they're fast tracking somebody, they're putting him in even more stiffer competition. This was not a fight. The one that he had, he just blasted him out of there. So they obviously don't want to get it wrong. They know that this is a young kid. They need to get it right. You don't want a situation where you put him in with some over his head and he gets knocked out, and then you ruin a talent. You need to take this. You need to take this smart. You need to be smart about this. Matchmaking is an art. Matchmaking is very important, and I think Adam Azim could be a big star. But again, we need to lower our expectations and take it for what it is right now. Start hype the way we're hyping him. Oh, he's going to be the next superstar, this, that, and the other. We won't know until he gets to that level. Boxing's very difficult. There's been many guys that have been hype, and then they turned out to be hype jobs, not the fighters that we expected them to be. You know, to start comparing him to accomplished fighters like a Nazim Hamed or an Amir Khan is at this point ludicrous, because he's not at that level at this point. He's not at that level. We don't know if he's ever going to get to that level. You know, being a world champion isn't easy. So we need to lower our expectations, you know, for Adam Azim. I think he's a good talent. I think a very good fighter, and I think he could go a long way. But again, I think we need to kind of be realistic as well. You know, putting a lot of pressure on somebody is not good, because if he doesn't meet those expectations, it's going to be a lot of you guys that are calling him a hype job, and that doesn't sit too well with me. So I like to take it one step at a time at this point in his career. And then maybe after 15, 16, 17 fights, we'll be in a better position to kind of say, is he the next Amir Khan? Is he the next Prince Nazim Hamed? Then we'll probably be in a better place. He'll be better placed, him and as fans, for us to make a judgment if now, yeah, he does look the goods. Because right now, the level of opposition is what it is after 5 fights. It's easy for him. You know, he's going in there blasting them out. But that's what he's supposed to do, because they're just building his confidence at this point. So yeah, we need to calm down a little bit about Adam Azim, but he's a good talent. There's no doubt about it. But a talent that is sparkling at world level, that is there and is the next superstar, is Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez. Oh my God, what a performance against Runvisai. What a great performance. Runvisai is a brilliant fighter. You know, Runvisai, he slayed Chocolatito back in the day. I remember at the time, people were shocked when Runvisai beat Chocolatito. This was a case where Runvisai was 35 years of age. He was past his prime, and Bam Bam Rodriguez took him apart, really. He won every round. He controlled it on the outside. He was too fast. His footwork was too good. He moves a bit like Lomachenko, not as extravagant as Lomachenko, Bam Bam Rodriguez, but his control of distance, his foot speed, his footwork, his hand speed, it was all legit. Like, he battered him, really. He battered him from pillar to post. And basically, at the end, Runvisai had nothing left. And it was a very good stoppage by the referee. You know, I think this kid's a very, very special talent, Bam Rodriguez. Now, Again, this is a guy a year ago, nobody knew who he was. He came out of nowhere and all of a sudden he took an opportunity. And look where he is today. Look where he is today. He battered Quadras and then fought Runvisai, battered him, literally cleaning out the old guard, and he's beating them well. These older legends legends, he's beating them really well. He's battering them easily. All of these guys used to fight each other and he's beating them comfortably. And there's now a lot of talk about him and Chocolatito. If I was Robert Garcia trains him, I think I would go for it. Because Chocolatito is another fighter who's getting up in age. And this kid is 22 years of age. And you know what? That promoter, I forgot his name. On Twitter, he actually wrote that Bam Rodriguez at 22 years of age has a better resume than Jamal Charlo, Demetrius Andrade, and David Benavidez. I think he said to David Benavidez. And it's so true. Oh, no, I think he said Tank Davis. It's so true. It's so true. The guy that used to work for Top Rank, what's his name? I forgot his name now. He goes on quite a few YouTube channels, but yeah, he rips it up. He's not afraid to speak his mind. I forgot him. He said that on Twitter, but it just shows this guy's come from nowhere and he's daring to be great. At the age of 22, he's achieved so much. And for me personally, I think this guy's gonna go a long way. I think I think he could beat Chocolatito. Now that's a much tougher fight, even though Runvisai styles make fights. I think Chocolatito will cause a lot more issues than Runvisai did. But again, this guy looks so fast. His footwork is so good, and he's a big dude as well. He's not a small guy. That's a very, very good fight. There's also talk about him against Inoue in the future. Now Inoue is at 118, and that would be a good fight. That would be a very good fight as well. I think right now, if you're Bam Rodriguez, I think you avoid the Inoue fight because he's 22 years of age. There's no point of rushing it. You know, that fight could be down, one for the future. But right now, there's a lot of fights to be made. There's a lot of other fights like the Chocolatito fight. That's a really good fight. So I would look to stick around at 112, 115, look to clean out there before you go up and fight Inoue. We don't know how long Inoue is, because if Inoue becomes undisputed at 118, he might move up. So they might have to strike, before Inoue decides to move up. So maybe if Inoue becomes undisputed, maybe there might be an opportunity to fight Inoue. But again, he's 22 years of age. You want him to move up weight and fight a killer like Inoue, because Inoue is not a washed up guy. Inoue is a guy in his prime. And Inoue is a monster. Inoue is literally a monster, and he's a big puncher. So that would be a very dangerous fight for Rodriguez, because Inoue has the kind of power where he can clean your lights out. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one. Even though I think this kid's a very, very special talent. There's no doubt about it. Eddie Hearn's right. He is special. But I think we've got to pump the brakes a little bit with Bam Rodriguez, because I think Inoue might be a step too far at this, especially in the next couple of years, because Inoue is still in his prime. How old is Inoue? 27, 28, 20, wherever he is. In the next couple of years, he's not going to be out of his prime. So I would favor Inoue. I know Shakur said he would favor Bam Rodriguez. I just don't favor Bam Rodriguez against Inoue. Inoue is a monster puncher, and he's knocking everybody out. So yeah, and he's also a very good boxer as well. It's not like he's a guy that's wild. He's got very good footwork himself. He's very fast of hands, and he's got dynamite. He's explosive. So that would be a very dangerous fight for Bam Rodriguez. And also, is that fight going to be able to be made easy? Well, Matchroom and Top Rank do work together, but again, that might be a fight where the Top Rank might win on ESPN. So yeah, I'm not sure that fight can be made anytime soon. Moving on, Canelo Alvarez said something interesting about Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. which maybe the Errol Spence fans won't like. Canelo said that Terence Crawford is in his eyes, Terence Crawford is better than Errol Spence. Errol Spence is a hell of a fighter, but Terence Crawford is better than Errol Spence. A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel Terence Crawford is the more versatile out of the two. He's the more skilled out of the two. I personally was picking Terence Crawford. After Errol Spence had the crash, I was initially picking Errol Spence. Now I'm probably maybe picking Errol Spence. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this one. Is Terence Crawford? Amir Khan said Terence Crawford is better than Spence, but Amir Khan is going to be biased. He's been with Crawford. He's probably friends with Crawford. But to be fair, it's not just Amir Khan. It's like a lot of the legends as well. Roy Jones and all those guys are picking Terence Crawford. You know, they feel Terence Crawford's going to win that fight. So, you know, they obviously see something in Crawford that they obviously don't in Spence. And a lot of people think that, you know, they're hating on Spence. I don't know why Roy Jones would hate on Errol Spence. I don't know why, you know, those guys would hate on Errol Spence. I think they're just giving you their opinions. They're giving you their opinions. Like, Errol Spence is taking it the wrong way. He feels, oh, these guys are hating on me. I don't think they're hating on him. I think they're just giving their opinion. I feel like a lot of these fighters nowadays get caught up in their feelings a lot. When someone's giving their opinion about a fight, it's just an opinion. You know, it's not like something to be... Fighters get really offended if you say, oh, you think they're going to lose. They take it personally. It's just an opinion. It's like a sport, right? It's like you think that guy's going to win because you see something that you think he could take advantage of and you're picking him. I don't know why fighters take it so personally, you know. I'm pretty sure those same fighters give predictions of other fights. Like Errol Spence said, you know, Tank will beat the hell out of Rolly. You know, that doesn't mean Rolly takes it personally, you know. That's just what it is, you know. You're giving your opinion about a fight. You know, these guys give their opinions. So I don't know why, like, Errol Spence got, you know, he's getting a bit riled up, the fact that those guys are picking Terence Crawford. I don't think there's any bias or they like Crawford more. I just think it's their opinion. They probably, you know, Antonio Tarver said, I think Crawford's got more dog in him and I see the eye of the tiger in Crawford's eyes. Well, it's their opinion. That doesn't necessarily mean that Crawford's going to win. It's their opinion. But, you know, Errol Spence can go inside that ring and show him. Yeah? So, you know, I remember when we spoke about this on the live stream as well. And I remember Steven was saying, oh, these guys are, I think they were saying jealousy or something. But we don't know that, though. We don't know that, though. We don't know if they're jealous or what. We don't know that. Do you know what I mean? So, for me, it's just a case people are giving their opinion. I don't think Canelo Alvarez, he ain't jealous of Spence and Crawford. He's just giving his opinion that he thinks Crawford's better, even though Crawford said some bad things about Canelo. You know, like, you know, he avoids black slick fighters and stuff like that. You know, so he said, even then, he's just giving his opinion. Like, he could have easily said, no, Spence ain't said anything about Canelo. But he basically said that I think that Crawford is the better fighter. So he gave his opinion. So, you know, a lot of people are picking Crawford in that fight. Like me and G-Man did that collaboration yesterday, he said that he thinks that Crawford's going to win. A lot of people think Crawford's going to beat Spence. But it's a proper 50-50 fight. Now, I will say this. I think Spence has the better resume. I think Spence has the better resume, without doubt. I think Spence has fought more tougher fighters. He fought Sean Porter, Kell Brook. He fought Mikey. He's fought Danny Garcia. You know, he's fought a lot of stiff competition. Spence. He's got a good resume. I'm not saying his resume is like special or anything, but he's definitely got a good resume, good solid resume. Whereas a lot of Crawford's wins are against guys that are past their best, or guys that were once upon a time were good fighters. But he hasn't really fought a lot of guys in their prime. Even Porter, again, coming to the end, he hasn't really got the opportunity to fight elite competition in their prime. So we don't really know. His fight against Spence would be by far the toughest fight of his career, and by far, like, I feel like Spence fighting Crawford, although Crawford would be the best guy, in my opinion, that Spence would have faced, I don't think the jump in levels is that much to what I think Crawford fighting Spence is. I think Crawford has been fighting, if you look at Crawford's last couple of fights, when was Crawford's last fight? Was that Kell Brook? Oh, no, Sean Porter, sorry. He fought Sean Porter. Before that was Kell Brook. Before Kell Brook was Kavialauskas, if I'm not mistaken. And then it was Amir Khan. So if you look at a lot of those names, like they're either guys past their best, or they're guys like Kavialauskas, who you would say are fringe world level. Kavialauskas recently got beat by Virgil Ortiz. So the point I'm trying to make is that these aren't the kind of competition, whereas Errol's been fighting Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, he fought Mikey Garcia. These are much more credible guys than what Crawford's been fighting, because a lot of the guys that he fought were past their prime. So we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see how it plays out. I don't think you can conclusively say who's better out of the lot. I think who's better out of the two. I think both of them are really good fighters. I think both of them are capable of beating each other, and it's a proper 50-50 fight, hence why we want to see the fight. That's a fight we need to really see. We need to see that fight. Let's be brutally honest. We need to see Spence v Crawford. I think if that fight doesn't happen, it's a travesty. I think it will. I think it'll happen next. I think it has to. I don't think there's anywhere else for either of them to go. I think the walls are closing in terms of the young guys coming through, like your Ennis's, like your Ortiz, because now they're knocking on the door. They're saying, we want a piece of those guys. You see? So before those guys get a chance to fight them, they might as well fight each other. And then they can do what they want. Spence is probably going to move up. Crawford might even move up if he wins. So, it'll be interesting. Because for me, the welterweight division is all geared up for the Spence and Crawford fight now. I think everyone's waiting for that. That's the biggest fight to be made. It's funny that Thurman's career has just gone downhill. Thurman at one point was probably the best welterweight in the world, and people were chasing Keith Thurman, but Thurman wasn't able to capitalize. I think of late, on the last 5 or 6, 7 years, I think Keith Thurman has been one of the biggest disappointments. When I look at his career and think what he could have been and the way it's turned out, and people may say he still could come back, but I just think that he never even scratched the surface. Look, injuries and stuff, I think he's made a lot of money. I think he's made some good money, and I think he'll probably got some money fights left in him, but I don't think he's the same guy. I don't think Keith Thurman's got that eye of the tiger he once had. I don't think Keith Thurman is that fighter he once was. I think injuries have really affected Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman isn't that same guy. He was a very good fighter. And I actually thought he was capable of beating Spence and Crawford when he was in his prime. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman. I think genuinely that Keith Thurman would have caused any welterweight trouble. Because Keith Thurman could do it all. Keith Thurman could punch. Keith Thurman could box. Keith Thurman was fast. Keith Thurman had good feet. The only weakness with Keith Thurman was his vulnerability to the body. Apart from that, Keith Thurman was an exceptional talent. And this is why I say that I think he's one of the most underachieving talents in the last 5, 6 years, because I honestly think he could have achieved so much. I think he could have potentially even taken over the welterweight division. And I think he would have been a horrible fight for Errol Spence. I think he would have been a horrible fight. I think he may have even been a horrible fight for Terence Crawford. But we'll never... At this point, I don't think he is. But I think the Keith Thurman, the old Keith Thurman, the one that probably should have fought Errol Spence, I think that Keith Thurman was a problem. But anyway, well, there's no point of talking about the old stuff. Time's flown by. Thurman's not that guy anymore, and it is what it is. But yeah, leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about this video, about me going through all the prospects. How do you see all these guys doing? How do you see, Adam Azim getting on? How do you see Jesse Bam Rodriguez? What do you think his next move is? Spence Crawford. Do you think Crawford is the better fighter out of Spence and him? Why do you think that is? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.